There's a famous psychological theory called transactional analysis, or TA. And the idea behind transactional analysis is that we have three parts to our brain. We have the parent, adult, and child. So the parental part is to do with judging others, really. It's to do with all the stuff that we've saved up from when we were children, which we're then going to use when we become a parent, of no, you should do it like that and be careful and all that sort of stuff. Then you've got the adult part, which is the logical, problem-solving, sensible part of our brain. And then there's the child part of our brain, the inner child. And emotions and creativity and fun all come from our inner child. So one way to increase the amount of happiness that you get is to be more childish, or to do more childish type activities. And I don't mean childish in a sort of petty, spoilt, selfish type of a way. I mean childish in terms of being in touch with your inner child, just letting go and having fun. So what sort of activities could you have that would help you to be childish? Well, first of all, playing with kids, with your own kids, friends' kids, or whatever, because they will get you in touch with your inner child. So that's why it's so much fun to play with kids, because it gets you back into child mode, chasing them around the garden or building dens underneath chairs or whatever it is. So playing around with kids is great to get you into your child mode. Then there's playing with dogs. Dogs apparently have a mental age of about 4, so playing with a dog is like playing with a child, and I think that's one of the reasons why dogs are so great for happiness. And then there are childish games like throwing frisbees or building sandcastles on the beach. Have you ever seen dads on the beach with that really big spade building a real proper sandcastle? But they love it. They get right into the sandcastle building. Then there are things like water pistols and paper darts and all that stuff. It's a child activity, but it's so great because you haven't got a care in the world while you're doing that. You forget all your daily problems. There are childish films, of course. One of my favourite films is Airplane, which is incredibly childish, but it makes me laugh every time. Monty Python is another example. Then there's that film Anchorman with Ron Burgundy. That's another child film. There's all sorts of happiness you can get from amusing films and comedies on TV. There's also the playing of board games, games like Pictionary, and there's a little known game called Pit that I really would recommend. Pit. It's very cheap to buy, it's a little card game, and it's hilarious. Guaranteed fun from playing Pit. I think board games generally can bring you happiness as well as stretch your brain. I think the big three are probably Settlers of Catan. There's a game called Carcassonne, which I think is fascinating, and it's so beautiful to look at. And then there's an amazing game called Diplomacy that is the ultimate board game. But any board game that you enjoy, do have a look at those. And my last two suggestions are really for party animals. There's a game called Beer Pong. I don't think you have to drink alcohol when you play it, but the idea is you're trying to bounce table tennis balls into beer cups. And then my final suggestion is inventing new cocktails. And you could have alcohol-free cocktails if you want, but to invent new recipes for drinks, now that's a fun game. So that's just a few suggestions, but really my question for you is, what do you do at the moment that you could do more of, and what additional things could you bring into your life that would get you even more in touch with your inner child, that would get you to spend more time doing childish things? Because happiness definitely can be increased by being more childish.